Donald. Here we go. Okay. So now it is officially on the record, everything that we say. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And I know people are still piling in, and especially when you come back from break, everybody will start coming in a little later since you get sucked into the email realm. So welcome to whenever I'm a part of any conference whatsoever, one of my most favorite things is being able to chat with or be a part of a panel of folks that are super smart all across the country that are doing this every single day. And I have a panel of folks here of just some amazing, awesome people that are out there and doing really incredible things. All different markets, different business models, a variety of volume and units, and it's just a ton that everybody's going to take away from here, just to hear from all the different kind of best practices that are happening all across the country. So I'm going to start with kind of introducing everyone, who they are. And guys, just so it's everybody, I don't know whose tile is left to right. I'm going to just start with my left and work over. So we'll just start with Steve Shoemaker. Steve, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, your background, and who you work for and where?
Hey everyone, I'm Steve Shoemaker. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Ideal Homes in Oklahoma City. So we build approximately 450 homes a year in Oklahoma City. Been in business for 30 years. And so I oversee the day-to-day of our sales, our marketing team, and then our design center as well. And so half of our buyers are first-time home buyers, the other half first-time move up, and everything else in between. So that's a little bit about who we are, and I'm excited to be on this panel with all these sharp ladies. I get to represent the only sole dude on the panel besides our moderator, and the worst hair by far on the panel.
Steve's our token dude.
The token dude. Glad to be here.
And Steve is one of the best storytellers I know. And one time you'll have to get him to tell you about how he insulted his girlfriend's mother that had a missing finger, and he just didn't know as they were driving down. Anyway, so we'll just leave it there. All right, next up on my screen is Brooke Carroll with Homes by Dickerson in Raleigh, North Carolina. So Brooke, tell us a little about you and your company.
Hey, everybody. I'm Brooke. As Matt said, I'm a VP of Sales and Marketing with Homes by Dickerson. We are a local builder that has been in business for over 40 years here. We are a custom home builder, so we build anywhere from about 200 to 250 homes a year, and in price point ranges from the 3s to 2.5 million. So we have a vast array of products that we sell. We actually have moved down into Charleston, South Carolina, into that division as well. And I'm super excited to be here on this panel with you guys. Some rock stars here. Steve, Holly.
That's right. Awesome. Next up on my right is Laura Hansen of New Tradition Homes. Laura, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm Laura with New Tradition Homes. We're located in Washington State. In Vancouver, Washington, which is a submarket of Portland, Oregon. We are a family-owned company, been around for 33 years now. I'm one of the only non-relatives at the company. We do about 200 to 250 homes a year as well, kind of the move-up semi-custom product in our market. And I am super excited to be here too and virtually meet everybody. I'm really sad that we're not in Nashville. I got to do that last year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like wah, but
yeah, right. Next year when COVID's gone, back to Nashville we go.
Back to Nashville.
That's right. Next up, I've got on my left is Holly Hayner with CBH Homes. Holly, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm Holly Hayner, Director of Sales and Marketing here at CBH Homes, and I've worked here for 17 years now, working with Corey and Rhonda Kronger and the crew. We've been in business for 28 years and building homes in Idaho, and we're doing about 1,500 homes here. So, yeah, it's a fun place to be, private home builder, and trying to do the 100% production. We just made this switch last year to 100% spec home production builder. So that's been exciting. We were doing a little bit of build jobs prior to that, and it's been a good move.
Holly and crew at 1,500 homes a year. That I think that's all the transactions in Boise. Now, actually, Boise is an incredibly growing market, and if you guys haven't been out there, it is a gorgeous area, and CBH owns most of it. So
we try our hardest, yeah.
well, how many communities do you have? It's ridiculous.
We have about just 50 plus or minus. They're coming and going, depends on the day. But yeah, around 50 communities right now.
Very good. 100% spec homes have already gotten questions. 100% spec homes. We'll talk about that in a little bit. That's right.
That's all anybody's going to hear the rest
That's
of the
right.
Yeah.
You might as well stop right there. Everybody
A little different.
They said, what the? All right. Last but not least, just in order, I've got Angela Showing from History Maker Homes. Angela, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. Matt, thanks for inviting me to be out here and join you guys. I am the Vice President of Marketing for History Maker Homes. I get to lead a really talented team, and we have a lot of fun. We are a privately owned fourth generation builder. We build about, I think we're on target for just over 1,000 homes this year, and we serve the Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston markets. Very
good. Very good. And you guys have just celebrated, what, your 50th year in business? Was that right? Or was it? No.
70th.
70th. That's
wow.
What it was. Amazing. Amazing. So what's really amazing here is you start listening to everybody and the companies that they work for, and they're all super, super successful in their own right. But all of these companies have been around in their respective markets for a really long time. And they have spent the time, the energy, the money on branding creating a good reputation and consistently developing good product, and always being out in the forefront of new things. And obviously one of the newest things that is happening in our world is it's the COVID world, right? And so there's a lot to talk about under that part, right? And everybody's affected differently in each market. But let's start. This is kind of a question for everyone as a whole. So feel free to just kind of raise your hand and chime in so we don't cross over. But for you guys, what were your initial thoughts, specifically from a sales and marketing perspective, once COVID became a reality for you? Well, let me direct the question just to make sure that we don't cross talk. But it started, Laura, you had the first experience with it up in Washington State, just south of Seattle.
Thanks for that, Laura.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take one for the team.
So, Laura, it's Laura's fault. It all came to the rest of us. But what were your initial thoughts? What was the first thing when it became a reality for you that you guys thought through? You were gonna, like, what's our top 3 things that we're gonna have to tackle right away?
Yeah, it hit for us really hard and fast, and it was first, and so it was just like a total shock, I think. And we were kind of in the position where we were just coming in really strong with sales from the beginning of the year, and so we'd had a backlog already from January of like 100 homes, which is a lot for us. And then it hit, and not only did it hit here, but building was non-essential. So we were not even able to build homes for 2 months. I mean, it's just feels very recently that we were even able to start again. We're still not even in our model homes the right way right now. So it's been really, it's been a ride, and it's still going. But we, first of all, we just quickly kind of, I think, went into panic crisis mode. But I think for us, we have a lot of longevity, like some of the other builders where we've kind of ridden out the recession. We've been through really hard things. We've kind of done that. And so we just kind of, it was really fun and cool to see the way that everybody kind of just went into like fight or flight mode in our departments, because it's not just all sales and marketing that kind of had to transition. It was the entire company on what are we going to do? What is business going to look like? And so we quickly quickly just met as a team and started to set up. It felt like triage. It was like scary, but just how we were going to go ahead and just work through that from a management standpoint, from me for sales and marketing, and then for, you know, design studio for everyone else. And we acted really quickly and really fast in the way that we changed our messaging and the way that we kind of conducted business. It was scary because we had to tell these 100 homeowners, like, hey, sorry, we can't even start your project. We were really afraid that we were going to lose that backlog of sales. That didn't end up happening really at all, which was awesome. So it was a lot of customer service happening really quickly, and we had a lot of good things in place already, thankfully, with a rebrand, a new website, a lot of things digitally that we'd already put into place as a company. So we were able to kind of capitalize on that and just quickly kind of step on the gas and move that forward a lot.
Yeah. And you guys had already, you know, in a way you were somewhat prepared because for at least for the remote selling, right? Because you guys deal with a lot of reloads in. You're a big reload market. So your team was already, from a sales perspective, is already used to doing some of that, right?
Yeah, they were. So that was fortunate for us because we were used to it. We were starting to really get our feet wet with all of us and build our programs, not just from the website and from a sales and marketing perspective, but from the whole buyer experience, because you know how that goes. I mean, they've got to do a pre-construction meeting. They've got to do design studio. Our design studio is doing everything virtually really, really well. And electrical walks, everything. We do that quite a bit anyways. So we just kind of flipped everything to that. And so I think that was helpful for us that we already do that a lot for Relo. Yeah.
Absolutely. Angela, how about you? So you're in Texas. Obviously it's, you know, Texas is Texas. So, and it's interesting because, you know, you guys have gone through that at the beginning, and now you're one of the areas you're starting to see some hot spots and spike. So what are some of the things that you did once this became a reality for you? And then is any of that adjusting at all for what you're seeing right now? Like, are you taking precautions? Are you doing anything differently? Because you've already essentially gone through it once.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny, I was listening to Laura, and honestly, I know you guys kind of dealt with it first and fastest, but it felt like our situation, the way that we went through it, really mirrored your experience as well. So it was a lot of just sort of triage very fast and trying to figure out, you know, how to safely conduct business. Our difference was that we were an essential business. And so how are we able to move forward and remain an essential business? And we did actually close our model homes for a period of time and went by appointment only. You know, similar to New Tradition Homes, we had just gone through a website rebuild and we're rolling out a new branding initiative. And so that helped immensely, just having the right tool in place to really, we shifted our focus to lead generation. We shifted our calls to action to private tours and virtual tours. We gave our teams our sales team a crash course in kind of how to conduct a virtual tour well. And then we started capturing as much raw footage from them as we possibly could and began generating content. Everything went towards generating content and messaging fast, quickly, and thoughtfully. We really wanted to be thoughtful in our communications, you know, to be able to protect our existing customers and still be able to do business and have people feel safe doing business with us moving forward. So luckily we sort of after that crisis period was over, we kind of realized, wow, some of this is actually working, and new opportunities started popping up, and we're realizing we have a real opportunity to leverage some of what's in front of us in terms of some of the digital marketing initiatives we were doing that Group 2 was helping us with, and some of the social media pieces that we were putting into place, or had started putting into place earlier in the year, really started helping us quite a bit. So
Yeah.
we've continued to focus on those things and expand those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the private tour, that shift, obviously, I believe that is going to forever stay with us to some extent. That virtual tour, and as we shift into this kind of on-demand access, not that people won't ever want to come into a model home, but I think that it definitely shifts the way that we have to look at the customer journey and what they expect. Last on this particular question, Steve, you and I had talked about this a while back, but what was the number one priority for Ideal Homes when this kind of becomes a reality?
Well, initially it was our staff, because we realized early on, we're a people first company and everybody deals with this kind of thing differently. Some people have a family member themselves that have health concerns. Some people thought, it was no big deal. And so realizing that we weren't going to be able to move forward until we made sure we were on solid footing with our staff. So priority one was just getting everybody out of the office and getting them remote. And our IT team did an awesome job of that. We were prepared technology wise to do that. And so we had, 90% of our company working remote within 5 days of, the big outbreak. So that you can't take care of your customers if your people are freaked out all the time. So that was priority one. But then priority two, Laura mentioned, was our backlog. We just had this freak out moment of, okay, if restaurants are closing down, if people are losing their jobs, the price of oil went to zero at one point during all this, which, newsflash, in Oklahoma, we like to pump oil out of the ground. And so that was a big freak out factor. And so we were like, what's going to happen to our backlog? So that was the top of funnel focus that we're usually focused on from a marketing standpoint, shifted to people that were in our pipeline pretty quickly.
And to Steve's point about in Oklahoma, they like to pump oil. A few years ago, I was in Oklahoma City with Steve. We were touring houses, and we all complain about when we have the backyard with like the unsightly, power line or whatever in the back. And Steve's like, hey, let me show you something. How would you sell through this objection? And you look out the back, the living room, kitchen windows, and there's some nice little common area behind those homes with an oil rig. Back there.
So like in most of our neighborhoods.
They're pumping oil out of the backyards of their homeowners. God bless fracking. Anyway, all right.
The backlog became vital, and I can go on and on about that, but walking that fine line between communicating with our backlog of what's going on and then not freaking people out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because there's a reality of this, your backlog being like, I can go as a builder, I can go a couple of months with anticipated lower sales. But if you couple that on top of lower sales with zero closings and then the backlog falling apart, that's a big deal. Like that's a really difficult challenge to overcome. So, and some people had to deal with that, right? Some people, and Laura wasn't a deemed a necessity for building in that area, but at least you were able to keep your backlog together, right? So that's some real problems come into play. So everybody on this panel, which is really interesting, had just implemented or was in the process of implementing some new technologies, some new selling and marketing tools for their company, like pre-COVID. And it all couldn't have happened at a better time. Everybody's like smiling ear to ear going, thank God we did this, right? So Holly mentioned they went 100% spec homes last year. And you also did a little thing called buy online, right? So you had just launched that prior to COVID. And so let's share a little bit about that. Like, maybe talk a little bit about your 100% spec homes. People's minds are going to explode. And then what Buy It Now looked like and how it went through COVID. Was that something that you felt like really assisted?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely counting our blessings. Kind of, I've heard a lot of great shares as far as moving quickly, and we were very grateful right off the bat to be an essential business and deemed essential. So yes, we sent our team home for a little bit and figured out how to work from home and do all of that. But we had just implemented, like I said, this past year, making the change to being 100% spec home, which has been just kind of, we used to be at least 50-50 build jobs versus specs, and probably higher on the build job side before that, a couple years prior. So it's kind of like turning the Titanic, I feel like sometimes. But we did make that change last year and we're successful at that. With that, we started what we call our Tour Now program, where we installed digital locks so buyers can get into our homes and have a code and get in and have access. So that was kind of all taking place. One of our dreams has been able to, put your house in the shopping cart like Amazon and then click buy it now. So that was in the works. It's been in the works for a little while, and we went live with that just towards the end of February of this year. And then all of a sudden, everything blew up into March, mid to end of March, and it played really well into people, all of our buyers being able to tour our homes, get into them, feel safe and secure. One of our top priorities right off the bat was adjusting our messaging and making sure that we were being sensitive to the situation, telling how they could be safe and secure. Also to our real estate, we do a lot of co-op deals, about 70% probably in our real estate buyers and their buyers. You can go into our homes, you can see the home, you can go home and click buy online, and then do it all virtual. So we were super excited to have that in place. It obviously picked up speed as soon as all of this hit, and worked out very well.
So what, either success or not on the buy it now side, like what kind of adapt, have the buyers been kind of jumping on board with that, or like what's been your success rate there?
We definitely saw, as soon as COVID hit, we're launching something new and trying to push it and figure it out ourselves and making little tweaks to make it better all the time. But as soon as COVID hit, buyers started utilizing it more. I think our realtor population definitely got on board with it. If you make any changes and their knee jerk is, I don't know about this, what are we doing? Like trying, we have great relationships. So some education there was super helpful, but everybody realized it was needed as soon as all of this happened. And when buyers are utilizing it, our sales team too, they started using it more in their selling as a tool to be able to say, they're not in person a lot of the times, they're doing things virtually, but to say, okay, I want to think about it. I want to talk to my spouse about it, those types of things. And absolutely go think about it. But we were continuing to sell, we were continuing to get double offers. So for buyers to be able to have that control, that they could go home and click buy it now, buy online, and go through that process and essentially get in first place on that home was a nice feature.
And you talk about a true urgency builder, right? Like you're the salesperson, you're talking to a buyer, and you're like, do you want this home? Well, we need to think about it. Okay, I just want to let you know this home can be purchased online. And
Right.
So the only way to hold this home and make sure it's yours is to actually go through with the paperwork. Otherwise, somebody could buy it in their underwear at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And it happened. The funny, probably the majority of them are coming in the middle of the night, which is pretty funny.
Interesting.
Buyers are buying.
Have you been able to tell, and you may not know this yet, but like what percentage of it was new prospects that you maybe hadn't already had in the pipeline versus people that the sales folks were already working with and they just kind of initiated the process that way?
So we've been watching that, and we are seeing people are starting the process with Tour Now. So we do already know that they're out there, but a lot of those buyers using that process, we are definitely getting buyers that we never knew were out there, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And then buy online is kind of a 50-50 mix of some of them are already talking to our team, and then the other ones went out on Tour Now and are doing it on their own.
That's great. I love it. Okay. Switching gears real quick. So Brooke, you came to Homes by Dickerson. How long has it been? What?
About 6.5 months.
So one of the things, obviously, almost everybody's like launched new websites. So you launched a new website, but one of the things that you really focused heavily on right out of the gate and it was because that you knew that you were lacking this already, was video specifically? Like, you've really kind of doubled down and decided we're going to have to spend a bunch of money up front to get video content because we're already kind of behind the 8 ball. What was your thought process there?
Well, right. You know, we certainly needed a lot of that just content rich, you know, material for the website. That was really a focus. It's really kind of confusing and overwhelming for some people to purchase custom with the process. It's more about, you know, what does that mean, or what's my next step? So we had spent a lot of time and money on producing video of what it's like to go through an entire process there. And to get video of our homes and our plans. And, you know, I started and the owner said, well, you know, Brooke, we've never built the same house twice. And I'm like, oh, you know, so it's really hard to render all of that and sell those. So, you know, we had just really been focused on, you know, I've got to get renderings of all of these. I've got to make sure I've got, you know, home plans and, you know, so we had started that process, Matterports, all of that. And then, you know, COVID hit, and I'll tell you, for us in Raleigh market, it really hit and became real on March 16th. You know, that was kind of the day that everything NBA made their announcement and everything shut down. And I think like overnight we had, you know, hey, we need to figure out another way to pivot. And one of the things that we looked at was, okay, one is everyone safe, you know, and how do we work here? But two, there's opportunity here. You know, there is tons of opportunity in any time that there is, you know, any type of scarcity and things in the market. So we just sent out and said, number one, we need to get our message out that we are open. Because as you guys know, everyone was getting those emails in that said, you know, these are the things that we're doing, and you know, these people are closed, and these people are open by appointment only, and these people. So it was really confusing, I think, to the public on who's open and who's not, because there were a lot of builders that were our competitors that completely shut down. So, you know, we went directly in, we did a video, you know, immediately on Google My Business, you know, this is what we're doing. We are open, even though we had to maybe get in the sales model and go by appointment only. We still wanted our staff there so that we could start running things virtually through. We could either, we were doing voiceovers with the Matterports we had just done to do tours. We, you know, were going through and we were trying to use our OSC as a switchboard operator, you know, to say, hey, you're looking online, you are engaged at this moment, let's get you right in to this home, or, you know, we'll walk you through that. So I think those, you know, that part was important. You know, continuing with the video and really we don't know what's to come. I think that's kind of the part here for all of us is what do these second or third waves look like? And so we've really focused, you know, particularly for us, Parade of Homes is a huge traffic and sale generator for us. I think we have actually sold 40 homes from our Parade of Homes traffic from last year. So it's really big for us. And so we knew, well, so Parade of Homes falls in September of this year. We don't know. As of right now, it's still planned to be kind of a normal, you know, event, but it could change at any moment. So we've really focused on doing these really expansive, you know, documentary type videos for each and every one of our homes. We've got 10 parade homes. Lots and lots of thought goes into planning these and what they're going to be. And so we kind of want to have that. It's kind of a, you know, a neat factor that you're going to be able to share all of the planning and thought behind it once we're in the home. But if this goes to a virtual Parade of Home, we're ready. You know, we've already got that content out there. We're going to be able to market that for, you know, and for marketing pieces for time to come. So I think that's really been a focus. We sent out for our sales agents to do, we ran contests. We told them they had, you know, 50 outbounds a day. It, you know, became double down, you know, as some of Holly and Angela spoke about as well on lead generation. And hey, we had them running, you know, some of their videos on site and had a fun contest, and they did amazing. I mean, our team just blew us out of the water with some of the things that they came up with and really helped with that organic content that we've got now. And I mean, as you've seen, of course, we launched a new website March 3rd, which was great that we had that out there, you know, and it's just been amazing for the traffic that we have had to come in and been able to capture that. So I think that's going to be a focal point from now, you know, until eternity. It's just every piece of video content and to make it content rich.
Yeah, and just to give everybody like a perspective, so they've got 10 parade homes. One is already built, nine are under construction, and it's literally like a documentary on every single home. They went through, like, one is in the Durham area and the Durham Raleigh area. They actually drove around to take architectural inspiration from the homes in that area, so then they can incorporate that into the build of that house. And each home has its own like personality and its own story along the way. And it's a big investment. They're spending like $20,000 in video footage for these 10 homes to have. But this is content that's going to live on, right? This is not one and done kind of thing. These are things that live on and help you tell your story continually.
Right.
So it's really great to hear. And guys, I mean, 40 homes, that each market is different from the parade, right? Like each market has a different level of parade of homes. I know Steve hasn't even entered into their parade of homes in like what, 10 years?
It's been a while.
But you know, in Raleigh, it's a really, really big one. And for a company that sells 250 custom homes a year, to be able to attribute 40 sales over a 12-month period from that, I mean, that's worth the time and investment. So anyway, really, really cool. As we kind of talking about messaging and shifting the times and how things are going, Angela, for you guys, one of the things that you guys have found that is working really, really well for you, that you've almost doubled down on, is from a social media perspective, on social media ad spend and things like that. What has been, for you guys, like what has been the big thing there? Like where have you seen the biggest, bump?
So I think overall we've seen, we're primarily using Facebook and Instagram. And we really do. I mean, when you say double down, I mean, I think we did even more than that, right?
Yeah.
We just, in the past haven't done as much. It's always been just kind of paid social. Let's target the audience we need and jump in and get out. But we didn't necessarily have, I guess, the resources and the bandwidth overall to dedicate too much more than that. And in this past year, we really just decided, this is too important, and it's too big of an opportunity. And since then, we've more than doubled just our lead generation leads alone off of Facebook. So that doesn't count, people who hit Facebook, click through, get to our website, and then complete a form. Let's see, 50% of our leads from those lead gen ads are converting to an appointment. And so that's been super meaningful and very encouraging, and it certainly makes it a lot easier to invest in moving forward with that strategy. So we've really just worked on getting the message right, getting the targeting right, and really going after and showcasing our content in that social platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys were really way out in front on getting the right messaging, especially when stay at home came into play. And I think one of the things, correct me if I'm wrong, but once you guys really started getting in and focusing in on, making sure that the right creative is in the right place, like from a stories perspective, for regular posts, like really, Molly and I talked about this at the very beginning of the day, like data-driven creative and understanding where your buyers are, how they're engaging with what, and making sure that everything is sized appropriately for each independent. I mean, there's 5 different versions of essentially ad sizes that when you're running social media and where it needs to show up, and taking just a little bit extra time to create that, I think is going a long way.
I agree with that. I think that we've got a savvy audience, and they're expected, their expectations are, they're living in this world and in this kind of social world and social media world, and their expectations are there, and it's our job to meet that expectation and to be able to very clearly and succinctly tell this story on literally limited real estate of an ad that can compel them enough to click through or find out more information. And again, that's something that I know you guys have helped us a lot with getting to that point. And yeah, it's definitely something that is it's paying dividends for us. I mean, that's clear by the appointments that we're setting and just the overall traffic that we're seeing.
Very good. So we're at 4:20. Our time goes till 4:30 here Eastern. And so I want to shift into, and this is when I saw a question chime in, and it actually was one of the questions I wanted to ask for everyone on the panel. So if you guys have some questions and you want us to jump in, we're going to take the next 10 minutes or so and make sure we answer some of your questions. But Jake chimed in, and it lines up with what I was going to ask next anyway. So he says, because of COVID, you all adopted all this new technology. Are you committed to maintaining it as things return to normal? So I'll start top left and work my way around. Steve, how about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're certainly planning on maintaining it as things return to more normal. One thing I learned during all this is some basic things. Our online sales counselor went on maternity leave on March 20th, and a little bit earlier than we were planning. And so I personally was the online sales counselor for 10 days until we had the backup plan in place that we had planned and were training for. And just doing that for 10 days, I learned some things, is that we make a lot of assumptions about what home buyers think. We went to this all virtual, hey, we have virtual showings, we can do it virtually, you don't have to come here. And I would talk on the phone and they'd be like, can I come there? And I'd be like, oh yeah. And so I learned, we were shoving some stuff down the throat of customers that they may not want. And so, yeah, we're going to continue to move forward with it, but we're going to listen to our customers. And then there's some other things that put a spotlight on the basics too. Like I went through our CRM when we got worried about our backlog, and we weren't talking to people. There were a ton of emails, there were a ton of text messages, there are a ton of voicemails left, but people need to hear the calm in our voice and know that, yeah, this is a big deal, but buying a house with us through this isn't a big deal. And so that's one thing that's old school that's going to move forward out of this for sure, is we need to talk to people more. They need to hear our voice. And so we've placed a really big emphasis on not just phone calls, emails, text, but actually getting a hold of people and talking to them on the phone.
Yeah, I think that's great. Holly, how about you guys?
Absolutely. We will continue to, anything digital and technology is always high on our radar. We'll definitely keep it as options going forward. And I think Steve hit on it. It's an option if it's the right fit for the buyer. We have a lot of buyers coming here from out of state, and so it's often a great thing to have when they need to see a home. But in person is always ideal too for certain clients who want to do that and feel comfortable with it. That's an option as well. So you'll see, I'm sure, both.
Yeah. Laura, what for you guys, what sticks? Or and maybe to add on to that question, not just is there a singular piece that like, oh, we're going to continue this stuff, but is there something that's like Steve noted, hey, we're not talking to enough people. Was there something that has been highlighted that maybe you weren't aware of that you're going to continue to do moving forward?
Well, I think this whole process has kind of solidified what maybe we had thought. I think is just how ready the buyers were for all of this, where I think we underestimated them because maybe we weren't ready to really push everything. We used to like to kind of do things the way we've always done them because they work, and I think that's the nature of our industry a little bit, unfortunately, that we tend to lag. I think that it just put a huge spotlight on buyer expectation, how actually excited they are to do their stuff on Zoom. Like they're picking out, really expensive upgrades on Zoom. They don't care. They don't want to come in. They don't have the time. And I think we're just floored to see all of that. And so now that we're kind of moving our processes that way, yeah, I agree. It won't be for everyone, but a lot of people, it is for them. Our cutest little story is our little 87-year-old couple who bought their house. They borrowed an iPad from their next door neighbors, bought their house on Zoom. They did their design selections, and they're going forward. And we're like, wow, we really underestimate people because they're comfortable with this, and we don't know what this is going to look like ultimately going forward. That we're still in the thick of it here in Washington. So we're just going to keep just kind of really pushing forward with a lot of the stuff we're already doing with the interactive floor plans, virtual tours, all of that. We will still always keep our model homes or brick and mortar. I think there's just going to be that's important for some people, or for at some point of the sales process. It may come later where they want to come out and see the model. We're kind of seeing that now. So they want to do all of this work up front. And then by the end, when they're ready, they better be ready, and you better be able to set them an appointment. And they want to come in right now and they're ready to go. And it's just weird because it's a way different mindset for those of us who have been around and selling for a long time. I think it looks a lot different, but I think we're going to keep all of the things.
You know, yeah, I don't think we could not do it. You know, I think that we've gotten, you know, all of us have really done a good job with getting the message out of options, and then it's like taking another option away from, you know, consumers. And I think this is just one more tool in the tool belt for people. And, you know, some people are really going to love it and prefer that way. And some are going to want to go back to, you know, kind of coming in. But I think either way, you're still getting a lot more engagement a lot earlier in the sales process, and kind of getting them in the funnel and more committed through that even before they come in. So I think it's something that as an industry, we have to keep, because that's going to be the expectation of kind of the on-demand selling.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's interesting, and Angela, I'm coming to you next, but it's interesting that I read an article, and I think this is when COVID had just kind of happened, and it may have been on like realtor.com, but it was, I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was a publication like that, like a really big platform. And they were talking about, the point of the article was they were really just talking about how surprised, and I should say how pleasantly surprised that buyers have adapted. They were like, we're really surprised at how buyers have adapted. And I'm like, I completely disagree. We are the ones that have adapted. It's the buyers that have been like, geez, I've been waiting on you guys to get here. I mean, and we actually think that because we enabled some like Zoom meetings, that we're now like, wow, we're like into the future. I'm like, guys, like this has been around for like 10 years, you know? And so, you know, it's leaps and bounds for us. But I think for me, the big takeaway is we way underestimate what people are comfortable doing, because we perceive that we want to walk in a house. And so one of our team members, Adrian, his wife, they're relocating from Philly up into Vermont. His wife is going to get her doctorate or a PhD at I forget the name, Ivy League school up in that area. And so anyway, they were buying a home. They bought it completely remote, and he's a young, like they're late 20s, 30 something like that's their first house. And I was asking him how it went, and he was like, buying a house is weird. Like he bought it all online. They never saw it. Their realtor like gave him a tour. They've never even been there. They bought it. But to him, as a younger generation, this like buying a house is really strange. Like it's really slow. It's really clunky. Like this should just got to be a better way to do this. So buyers are really waiting for us to get there. So Angela, you get the last word. What about you guys? What are some of the things that either got spotlighted or some things that you definitely are going to keep or definitely going to kill because of what you've seen?
Yeah, I first of all, I agree 100% with everything you just said, Matt, and Laura, with your initial comments about, you know, we're just catching up to the game, right? We're just catching up to our buyers. And so it's, you know, and they're receptive to it, and they're excited about it. So I think that's great. For us, it's highlighted the need for, like, we don't have a very strong CRM system. And so we're making that investment. We're going out and pursuing that CRM system, because what we're finding is we're able to get lots of leads in that funnel, and to be able to follow that lead all the way through and to engage them all the way through the pipeline is so invaluable. You know, even after purchase. And so that's something that's exceptionally important for us right now. But in terms of things that we've started doing that we're going to continue doing, and definitely the focus on content, I think we're really kind of lead generation will always be a primary piece of what we do, but doing that, the way about which we go about doing that through creating content, having videos, leveraging whatever kind of videos we can get and sort of finessing them to create some really engaging content. We're going to keep doing that. Something else that I thought was a really positive, our owner started doing some videos where he would directly speak to our customers. And I think that they really like that. And so I think that we'll continue those types of things moving forward.
That's great. Love it. Well, all you guys are doing an amazing job. And, times, when we get kind of strange times, it really makes us take a hard look at how we're doing things, because the reality is we've had a decade of like wind at our back, wind in our sails, and sales cover up a lot of problems, right? When things are going good, you're not real super excited to go like rock the boat to see what shakes out, to see what you can break and put together, because you're like, golly, we're killing goal. I don't even want to sell any more lots in this community because my new community is not ready yet. Or, I don't want to sell that many because I can't go up and price that quickly. And I've got to sacrifice that margin that I could get. And so it's really interesting that this is, how these things happen, and it make us examine our processes and our foundation and our fundamentals. And so no matter what, for me, the big takeaway is always, no matter what market conditions that we're in, at a builder, our builder, my old builder, Royal Oaks Homes, one of the things if it was never going the way that we wanted it to go, the first question that we would always ask was, is our process right? Like, before we do anything and make any adjustments, is our process right? Because if our process is right and we're confident in our process and our fundamentals, then we just need to give it some time to cook, right? Like, you don't always have to have a knee-jerk reaction and go drop prices or go change staff or go. Sometimes you just go through these ebbs and flows. And if your process is right and you always focus on our process and our fundamentals and always examining those no matter what market we're in, I think it's going to prepare you for any market that could come. And I think that you guys, everybody on this panel, are the epitome of that. And you guys have done an amazing job. And I'm proud to know you guys. I really appreciate you all taking the time out of your day to chat and share with folks in our industry what you guys do and how you do it. And thank you guys very much. And that is going to wrap up day one of virtual Home Builder Tech season 2. Not in Nashville. So make sure you chime in tomorrow morning. We're starting back at 11 a.m. Eastern. And we've got another almost full day of jam-packed sessions. So join us tomorrow morning, wherever you are. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.